literally few things in life that make me more mad than seeing the gurus on the internet tell you that building a brand and building an apparel company is easy and it's cheap. It makes me so mad. Yes, I was a victim to the gurus saying something is easy to do. I was even a victim of people saying you can just start a brand for $500, make something that looks very simple design and sell it, specifically in hats. And so I started an apparel brand, I started hat brands, and I've seen some success, but I've also seen some failure. So if you're someone who is into fashion, into clothing, and has ever thought about starting a brand, and then you get hit with all these videos of people telling you how to start a brand, how you can do it for cheap, how you can do everything yourself, this video is for you and things to look out for and things that I've learned over the last several years, 5-6 years, in running brands. So let's get into it. One of the things that is super key to life in general is to identify the truth. You don't necessarily need to know all the lies. Like, you don't need to know every single lie to understand what is truth. You just need to know the truth, and that can help you identify the lies. And the truth is, building an apparel brand, building any kind of brand, is very difficult to do. And people that say that it's not difficult, they're lying to you. Before I get a little bit too far ahead of myself in this video, I was just gonna say that I'm Chris, and I'm currently starting a hat manufacturing brand in America. Now, that doesn't necessarily look like opening a huge space as of now. It looks like me learning how to sew in my tiny office. This is my tiny office, this is my car. And it's very hot in here. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. But I've started multiple brands, but really just 3. One was a Christian apparel brand, mostly shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts. I ran that for 2 years. It didn't really go anywhere. So I started 2 hat companies. Why 2? Because I'm an idiot. But 1 dad brand, 1 Houston brand. Just mostly hats, a couple shirts, but mostly hats. And I've always loved hats, and I've just been doing that, and I'm still doing that. I might be flipping the switch off on my Houston brand, but we'll see more about that soon. But still going hard on the dad brand and doing hats made in America, sourced from America, hand sewn in America, and I'm starting the sewing by myself. And so that's where we're at, and that's what this YouTube channel is for. So let's get back into, well, actually, let me drive, and then we can get back into the video about the lies and the truth. We gotta go drop off 1 hat. That's it, 1 hat. All my dad stuff is sold out, basically. We've got a little bit more, but it's basically all sold out for Valentine's. And I was running some ads on some Houston stuff, but honestly, it wasn't getting picked up very good, so I turned those off. Didn't want to just waste my money, because they're not my top selling hats. So yeah, going to do that. I'll see you in a second. Forgot to take it soon, I seem to replay it. Broken records will wreck the message. I'm praying for brighter days, but I can see the storm lesson. My essence formed to a fraud. Talking only blessings, but never addresses menage. Too long as mirage, you chilling over my eyesight. Wonder how Stevie feel when this mirror will give me chills. Cause all I can see is... So it's not easy building brands. And I actually love what Pete from Origin says. And he says that if he knew how hard it would be, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. And I think that carries a lot of weight with building an apparel brand. And I especially like that because it really tells you why you're building the brand for. And these gurus will first off say it's easy to do it because they have done it, or they know somebody that has made it to 20K months and now they're rich. Even though they never tell you how much money they have, they never tell you what's in their bank account, what the profit margins are. They never tell you any of that. They just say something about revenue. And newsflash, if someone is just saying revenue and never tells you profits, chances are they're not making any money. Like, you can have a bunch of revenue but not make any money. And so that is a red flag. It's a red flag. It's a huge red flag. And I see it so many times all over the internet, especially with building apparel brands. And it's something that I fell into. Like, one of the guys who started a dad brand used to say, like, oh, we started with 100 hats or 50 hats, $1,000 for 50 hats. And we sold out, and now we sell 1 million hats a year. The time between that and to where they're at now, nothing about revenue, nothing about profit is ever spoken of. But also, to get to selling millions of hats, 1 million hat, you actually have to purchase 1 million hats. And if 1 million hats, they're $5 for 1 million hats, depending on what quantity you buy. That's $5 million. I don't have $5 million to buy that much stock, right? So you have to build yourself up to there. So there's a lot of the in-between steps. And so this takes me kind of to my first point, but let me back up for just a second to what I was saying about Pete is that if it comes down to it, you should not get into the apparel brand just for money, because you will not have what it takes to build that brand and to continue building even when the profit's not there or the revenue. You're just losing money, and I guarantee you will lose money. It will be hard, and if it's just to get that payout, you're gonna have to spend years doing it, and you'll never make it to that point. So that's my point there. And now we're gonna go to follow up on the other point. My first point, actually. The first point really is it's going to be way more expensive than you think. If a guru says that you can make 20K months just from $500 investment, or even cheaper, I've seen, that's not true. Look, as a solo person, I've done all the designs for my brands, and that's part of the issue of why things don't sell, because the designs aren't good enough. But second off, just building the brand in general, you have to have a logo, you have to have a website, you have to have design for hats, not even to mention like the style of hat, getting samples, shirts, knowing the shirts that you want to use, working with a shop, etc., etc. All that stuff costs money. Even if you can buy 50 hats for $500 or $600, which I do and I've done several times, that doesn't mean you have a brand, and it doesn't mean people are going to buy from you just because you have a brand. Like, I could put anything on a shirt or a hat, doesn't mean people are going to buy from you. And these gurus will say just because you can create a design, you can create an AI design, or you can use Kittl to create a design for $10 a month and generate thousands of designs. It doesn't mean one person is going to buy your brand. I'll give you all a personal example of something I just did for the Christmas season, where I was building a new brand, and I was doing this as an experiment. I'm going to turn this off in a second because I don't want to drive with this. I was doing this as an experiment to see if there were enough people interested in what I had to build for this brand that I had an idea for, because I didn't want to completely, jump in headfirst into the lake. And I had the inclination that it could be a good brand, but I also thought that this would take a long time to do because I known how these things go, but I kind of wanted to take a chance at it. And so I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. Let me drive. Say hi.
Hello.
Throw the ball for 1D back there. Alright, as I was saying, my AC is off. As I was saying, so the example, I'll just give you a premise. So say you come across a guru, says you can start a brand for cheap, less than $100. First off, that is technically true. Second off, here's the example. So in December-ish, November-ish, I made a short TikTok about a hooper and gaming brand and combining those two into a brand, because I grew up playing like Call of Duty, Halo, and also play basketball, grew up playing basketball. And so I wanted to like combine the two into like more of a shirt, hoodie graphic design apparel brand. And so I was creating designs, and most of it I was just doing myself with like text, some actual graphic design, and then some AI as well. And so if you know graphic design, it's free to do graphic design. And so that's what I did. So design, and then I created my own brand. I created the logo, created Instagram for free. Did I create a TikTok? I don't think so. I just used my personal TikTok for that. So all those things are free. The Facebook page is free as well. The Meta Ads account is free. And my idea was like I wanted to go fully organic, and I wanted to see if this had legs on it. And in the back of my mind, I was like, it would be a very small percentage of a brand to work. It would be a very small percentage of success right on the first launch. So the drop was, we're going to drop on Christmas, and I was going to put out, it was like 5 or 6 shirts, a few hoodie designs, and it was all drop shipping with Printify. And Printify has like a storefront you can use. So you just put the design on the shirt that you want, and you put up that design on the shop, all free. And so that's what I did. And I built a little bit of hype the week leading up to Christmas. And it was getting some good traction. I was doing some organic. And then I actually ended up putting $100 into some ads just to see what would happen. And so I don't know how many followers I have. Let me see if I can even look. And you can totally like go and verify this if you want. It's called The Gamer's Game. I haven't been on there since the end of last year. 154 followers. You can see there. And you can see some of the designs there. So we got graphics, we got reels. Our reels got 2,300 views, 200 views, 300, 400, 2,200, 300, 2,500, 500. And so it didn't do bad. So we did the drop, and then the idea was to keep going if I thought it had legs, but we had one sale. And the one sale actually wasn't even from Instagram. It was from my TikTok video that I did like a couple weeks prior to even Christmas. It was the first design that I put out for this brand. So technically I got 0 sales from this drop, even after 150 followers, $100 spent. And so this idea is that you can start a brand, but for very cheap. The entry level is cheap, which is great, and I think that's great. Anybody can get into creating a brand. If you can just have a little bit of design chops, you can create those things for cheap, for free even. You can do everything yourself for free. You can rely solely on organic for free, and you can create a successful brand for free, actually. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing dropshipping for a legit brand, but you can do it to start off, and I would suggest if you're interested in getting started in your first brand, that's the route that you go. But making $0 tells you a lot. Even if people like your page, even if people like your product, even if people follow your accounts, even if they say they love this, that doesn't mean they're going to buy. Usually it takes, what they say, like 6, 7, 8 touch points of your brand to make a purchase, and then the pricing and the actual apparel has to be correct, and the timing has to be good for them. So even being Christmas, people didn't buy. And you can say what you want, maybe the timing was wrong and people don't buy on Christmas, but I doubt that, because people get money for Christmas and buy new stuff on Christmas. So anyways, it tells you a lot that even though you can get started for cheap, it doesn't mean people will buy it, and it doesn't mean you'll be successful. You have to stick in with the brand for the long run. You have to stick in people's minds for the long run. You have to create good things for the long run. It's all a marathon, not a sprint. And gurus make you feel, even if they're legit, they make you feel like it is a sprint. They make you feel like you can make money quickly. They make you feel like you can do things easily, and it's not. And usually the longer things are, the harder it is, because staying consistent, staying disciplined, continuing to put out great work month after month, year after year, is a very difficult thing to do. And me just being a brand over, this will be my 3rd year for my hat brands. It's the longest I've gone building a brand. So there's people that can tell you that have done it longer, that the longer it goes, the harder it becomes, because the problems become more diverse, but you still have to continue to put out good work. And so that is one of the points. And so that actually might be the main point of this whole video, is that the lie is that it's easy, but it's not, because of all the reasons I just gave. And I had a couple other points to tell y'all. One is, even if you design something good, it doesn't mean people will buy it. Once again, you can hire a designer. Like I hired a designer for, I've hired a designer a few times for something. Let's say one was this mom sweatshirt. It was just a typography. I'm not the best typographer. And I could have done this design. Anyways, I hired her, $500, kind of not a very good price for what I would have liked. But the design was still good. So great design, put on a shirt, and the sweatshirt sold pretty terribly. My wife still wears the sweatshirt. I think it's still cool. But just because you think it's cool and the design is cool doesn't mean other people will think it's cool. Hats that I still have hats sitting up there from last baseball season. They haven't been selling well. In the baseball season, they'll probably sell well. I have other hats from everywhere. I've designed, put it out there, it doesn't sell very well. So just because you can design well doesn't mean it will do great. Just because you use an AI design and you do it for cheap doesn't mean it will sell. Doesn't mean it won't sell though either. So there are things that, being 3 years in, I still question, will this design sell? Will this design not sell? And, I use my insight into my my audience and what has sold. She was digging in my yard. What has sold before, and try to come up with designs that will sell good for my brand. But you just never know. So you keep going and you keep doing the same thing. The last one here is marketing is easy. And this is the ads versus organic conversation. And I don't necessarily want to get too far into this, but people say, like, if you don't have money to spend on paid ads, then do organic. But the thing is with organic, man, organic is hard too. Like there's a whole new set of skills to learn with organic. There's a whole new set of skills to learn with paid ads. And so for organic, yes, you can create a brand, but if you're creating a brand today, it's so different than it was in 2020 when a bunch of brands popped off because everybody was literally on their phones constantly through COVID. Now it is, you need to get attention, you got to keep that attention, and on top of that, you got to put out good apparel. So you're giving yourself a whole new job to do. If it's just you, that's a whole new job for you to learn and to do on top of just doing the brand. And so, like, which one is better? Ads, you do if you want to go fast. Organic, if you want to actually build the correct audience, I would say. If you actually want to do it, I wouldn't say it's even cheaper, because a lot of times you end up sending products to people to do organic for you, or you spend all your time doing the organic, and that costs you money. So, and it goes slower. So yeah, brand people, gurus, no matter what best intentions they have, I know some of them do, not everything is as good and as easy as it seems. And if they say it's easy, run away. Find someone ever to listen to. And speaking of, if you like brands, and I'm starting my brand, continuing to build my brand. If you're interested in that journey, like I'm sharing here, follow along, subscribe, let me know in the comments what's up, and let me know if you have any questions. No, I'm not selling a course, but you can check out my URL for my arena, arenahatco.com. I actually just bought it today. Connect to my framer, and that's not free, but you can go to it and check it out, and that's about it. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Toodaloo.